Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Connected session, how to build connections and set sales records with intent data. And I am so excited to be here today with Franny and Kate. Franny from Integrate, Kate from Bombora. Why don't you two introduce yourselves?
Hi, everyone. I'm Franny with Integrate. Really happy to be here today, and especially happy to be doing this session with Kate as we formally work together on the same team. So it's a special experience to be back together.
And I'm Kate Athmer, VP of Growth from Bombora, and I'm also excited to really get this group together. I think Franny's campaign was super cool, and we're excited to share with you just what she did to break some records in Q4.
Yeah, I'm Angela. I am a product marketing manager over here at Sendoso. And when I heard the results that Franny had using both Bombora and Sendoso together, it was honestly like a dream come true. It is why we do what we do over here in product marketing to bring you success with some of our cool integrations. So Franny, I'll let you kick it off and tell us more about Integrate and who you are as a company.
Perfect. Thank you. I know you guys aren't all here to hear about Integrate, so we'll jump into the meat of things. But just generally speaking, if you're not familiar with Integrate, we are pioneering precision demand marketing. And essentially what that means is we give you as a marketer the ability to automate the ingestion of all of your data, bringing it in through one pipe into your down funnel systems, marketing automation, CRM, and make sure that that data is as close to 100% marketable as possible. It's valid, it's governed, etc. And what does precision demand marketing mean? It essentially means that you have the ability to connect all of the dots across your channels to make them all meaningful so that your prospect or buyer's experience is connected at the very heart of your message.
Fantastic. So I think from there, setting the stage and what you guys do as VP of Sales, I'm sure you guys are, constantly facing challenges, especially with, everything that happened in 2020 and beyond. So talk to me a little bit about your challenges that you faced as the VP of Sales and getting Integrate in front of your buyers.
Yeah, so it is, it's challenging irrespective of being in a global pandemic, just breaking through the clutter and getting any marketer in front of its prospects is super challenging. So then add on top of it a global pandemic where we are digitally saturated right now. Everyone is on email incessantly, display advertising, trying to just be at the right places at the right time. It's really, really challenging to be effective in this environment. So then add on top of that, how do you know what accounts to even target, right? So I was in a situation where I faced was we kind of had two different angles that we were going after. One was late stage pipeline, which is always important to drive that across the finish line. And then the other is net new pipeline, which is the lifeblood of what we do. So how can we figure out a way to break through this clutter, to be impactful? I tend to be a little whimsical in the things that I do and let personality shine through, because everyone's like just straight laced, by the book. We have to do X, Y, and Z to be successful. Well, it's not always the case. I mean, I like to do things by the book and have rules and be regimented, but I also am a firm believer in living on the edge a little bit, taking some chances. They don't always pay off, but in this case, the program that we put together really did pay off.
Awesome. So kind of going off that, Kate, you want to talk us through how you at Bombora and the technology that Bombora provides help prioritize Franny's accounts?
Sure. So one of the challenges that Franny mentioned was figuring out which accounts to prioritize this effort for based on having a limited budget and also limited time. I mean, it was Q4 clock comes up fast. So one of the tools that Franny has at her disposal is Bombora's company surge data, and that's right within her Salesforce instance. So when she logs in, this is basically what she can see. So it's a list of her accounts and a level of intent that they are showing, or a company surge score. So she's able to filter by that company surge score to see which accounts are demonstrating that they are most likely in market for any of the topics that Franny has input in, and any of the products essentially that Bombora that Integrate sells. So Franny puts in a list of topics. These are things that either Integrate sells or competitors of Integrate or Integrate itself as a topic. And she's able to then sort the accounts based on which of them are researching those important topics to her. So it gives her a starting point for prioritization when she knows that she can't work all 4,000 of her accounts in Q4. So
but she might try, right, Kate?
Well, yeah, if anyone's going to try, it's going to be Franny. But yeah, I think focus is important, especially for an ABM type effort like this. So this is kind of like the background of Bombora's data, what it looks like. So this is a chart of the average company surge score for all of the accounts that Franny ended up closing in Q4. We've blinded the accounts, obviously, but all of them, when she went to pick the accounts in Q3, were above the threshold where we would consider them to be in market. So they all had a company surge score over 60, and many of them had a company surge score over 70 during that time. So it really gave her confidence that these were some accounts that were engaged and interested and that they would be worth pursuing. So this is just kind of the back end of the data to show you like what it sort of looks like and what's powering the view that she saw in Salesforce to prioritize her accounts. And then the next slide, this is how Franny is able to know what specific topics a specific account is interested in. So she logs into Salesforce, goes to the 10 accounts she selected to work on a certain day. She can see what they're researching and which of their topics have a very high company surge score. And from there, she knows what her message should say. And so Franny's going to talk a little bit more about this in the next couple of slides, but she tailored the Cameo message and her follow-up emails to make sure she was really hitting on those topics that specific account was interested in, because personalization matters and it works and it gets people's attention when you're speaking about the problems that they are trying to solve that week, that month, that quarter. So I'll let Franny take it over and explain a little bit more about how she personalized that messaging.
Thank you, Kate. So let me just take a step back for a second in case people aren't familiar with how Cameo works or what it is and how it's operating through Sendoso. So just to kind of set the stage, there were two campaigns. Like I said before, one campaign was to impact late stage pipeline. One campaign was to impact and bring in some net new pipeline for 2021. And so Cameo as a platform gives you the ability to essentially select entertainers, celebrities of some sort for a fee, and they can then customize a message that would be sent to your recipients of choice. So Cameo and Sendoso came together to be able, which is brilliant. Whoever brought that to the table, I think it's brilliant. But Cameo and Sendoso came together so that through our license with Sendoso, we had the ability to access the Cameo platform in a very seamless way to be able to bring this messaging to life for our B2B outreaches to our prospects. So that was kind of the whole approach in how we use the Cameo messaging. Now, the strategy, as Kate talked a lot about, the strategy was the lifeblood of this program because all of the stars had to align. And I will say it was a lot of effort and work up front. The payoff was definitely there, but it required that starting point of knowing what accounts do I even care about to spend my time on by virtue of, are they interested in what Integrate brings to the table? Because if they're not interested in what Integrate brings to the table, I could be as creative as I want all day long, knock them over the head with a great creative message, they're still not going to care. So that was critically important, was to know who's interested, what accounts are interested, and more importantly, what messaging is important to them. So for the late stage pipeline, which is what we're calling prospect account A here, they were really interested in ROI. They were really interested in knowing how are we going to prove value of our investment? And these types of topics was what helped to fine tune the message that we had the Cameo artists put together. So you can read the message for yourself. I don't have to say that out loud. This message wasn't rinsed and repeated for every single person we sent this to. There were about 30 different individuals that this was sent to, but something along the lines depending on what they were surging on. So message was customized. The other thing I've heard from some other folks that have worked with Cameo through Sendoso, that one of the challenges is if you don't know someone like they're your BFF, how do you know what celebrity they're going to be interested in? So I learned through trial and error, it really doesn't matter all that much. What matters is that you have someone who is highly energetic, you have someone that pays attention to the message you're trying to get across, and that follows, not necessarily an exact script, but follows and can think about that message and bring it to life. So we had a little bit of trial and error. It didn't all go out at once. And there were some cameos that I selected of pretty famous people that were a little bit more pricey, and some got rejected and some came in and they were okay. But then over time, we started to realize there were a handful of folks that were less expensive, great energy, great delivery. And we ended up taking all the ones that were rejected and putting them all to a handful of folks that just worked beautifully in the message delivery. So that just gives you a little bit of the background on the whole campaign, how we built it. This was one example, again, on the tailored messaging based on the topics for the late stage pipeline. And then the next slide shows you the other effort that we ran, which was for net new prospects. Now, this one was a real challenge because just imagine you're in sales, you're in marketing, you have target accounts, ABM all day long, right? But these, you have no idea if there's any interest at all in what you're trying to sell or put in front of them from these accounts. So all I had at my disposal was the Bombora intent data to help me fine tune the accounts that I was going to select. And it was a big process because I only chose 5 accounts. These were my 5, we'll call them big whales for 2021. And we sell a SaaS enterprise level product. So there's like 10 to 15 decision makers sitting around the table. We went really deep in these accounts. So it was imperative that I started with the right data. So you can see here again, some of the company surge topics that were important for me to focus on, that were important to the 5 companies I selected: data quality, lead quality, marketing optimization. These are all really important topics and buzzwords to know. All right, these are the accounts we're going to select. Then from there, we did use other tools such as LinkedIn Sales Navigator to get deeper, maybe a little professional stalking to try to figure out, like, what are we going to send to these people? I tried with my team, tried to figure out how old are they? Where'd they go to college? Who do they follow on social media? There's a lot of information out there, people. So be careful what you put out in public. But again, it did help to fine tune selecting a Cameo entertainer that would be appropriate to deliver the message. And this campaign reached about 60 different individuals. We did not do it all at once, intentionally, so that we could have some learnings along the way. And again, one of the biggest learnings was it's not necessarily the most popular or highest paid celebrity that actually ends up having the best impact and the best delivery.
Well, I think it's a perfect example.
Yes.
Some of that. This is an actual Cameo that Franny sent out to a cold prospect, and we'll check out her energy.
It's Nikki Blonsky, and I was just jamming to a little Without Love. Life's like the seasons with no summer without love. Life's like rock and roll without a drummer. Well, Franny from Integrate asked me to make an introduction, so I decided to sing it. And she's heard that you are amazing and that you might just benefit from getting your marketing data right before it gets into your down funnel systems. Just a hunch that Franny had. But she also just wanted to wish you the happiest of holidays and a very merry and bright and healthy and happy holiday season to you and yours. And I'm sending you so much love, and I'm always singing a little welcome to the 60s. Oh, 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 oh. Go, Hannah, go, go, go. Happy holidays. Bye.
So for those of you that don't know who that was, that's Nikki Blonsky, and she's from Hairspray. And she was one of the celebrities that I didn't know her, obviously not personally, but I didn't know her well. I am a Hairspray fan, but I didn't know her well going into the Cameo. And I had selected her for some younger women that I didn't know a whole lot about. And when I started getting her cameos in one after the other, they were just so amazing. She wore different outfits, different makeup, different songs for every cameo. They were short, sweet, about 40 to 50 seconds every time. And I highly recommend her as a talent because she just did a super job in delivery and entertainment.
So I think and Kate, you can definitely speak to this a lot as I can, but I think what's super important with Franny's story is taking the power and the data that you know about someone that you're trying to reach out to, understanding their needs, making sure it's the right time, your messaging is correct, and turning that data into action with Sendoso. So you know that they're ready, you know what they're interested in. Now let's go create those wow moments there. And it's incredible to see what Integrate has done. Kate, anything else you want to add there?
I'm just totally distracted all of a sudden by how close our brand colors are to each other. But no, I mean,
minds think alike.
Yeah, lots of orange. It was a very orange deck. We are also customers of Bombora. We use our own data and Sendoso, and I would agree with everything you say. I think lately, but always in ABM, it's really important to make sure that you know your audience, you know your customer, and Bombora and Sendoso are definitely two platforms that really help you personalize and get connected with, make connections with people that you aren't able to see in person. So I think Franny did an awesome job setting a good example for everyone with that.
You are the textbook example of how perfectly your data could, or your tech stack can work together to see those results.
I'll say this too. It was, I had to sell this internally at Integrate. It wasn't that there was budget sitting around for a late Q4 push. And traditionally I was on the road every week. I'd be traveling, I'd be in front of my prospects all the time. So it was really a struggle for all of us, but especially for many salespeople who are used to being on the road and having that face-to-face interaction. It's been very, very challenging this year. And to come up with creative means that wasn't already done and, that help you to stand out from everyone else, it was really hard. So this was something that I had to sell. I really had to beg, borrow, and plead for some budget to do it. I have a lot of passion and really believe in the things that I do. So I while I can't guarantee success, I had all the right tools in place to sell that through internally and get my revenue marketing leader to really believe in the effort and put some merit behind it. So I was grateful to have that opportunity to put it together.
Awesome. Well, I think if we go to the next slide, we can see here just how incredible the results were, and they really speak for themselves with this example.
Yeah, so here's another thing that I think is important too for those of you that might be thinking about doing this. This isn't a one and done. So one of the really great things about using the Cameo platform through Sendoso is the artist provides a link that can be used to send to whomever you're, in this case, to a prospect. And that link can be sent through any mode of transportation that you'd like. So for me, it was a multi-touch follow-up. I would say that the response from send one, which was an email, was very low, but it was a methodical approach that went out to follow up that included multi-touch, right? So that was email, that was LinkedIn, that was phone calls, that was LinkedIn again. And over time, that was impactful and did garner a lot of response. But having that link and being able to use that link however you want is really helpful. You can read here the conversation on the right from one of the prospects who said, I never respond to cold pitches. You got my attention. And we did meet. And while she wasn't the right contact for what I needed, she was an amazing person to meet. We had such a great conversation. And that conversation has progressed to her introducing me to the right folks across the marketing operations and demand gen team. But it all started with just an ounce of creativity, a little bit of fire burning to just break through all the clutter right now.
It's incredible. I feel like as a salesperson, it's got to be the best reply to get is I never respond, and I am responding to this right here.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was such an authentic experience from both sides of the equation, right? I mean, she knew obviously I'm a salesperson, but it was authentic in my outreach and that I was trying so hard to get someone's attention. And it's hard. The hardest part of my job is just getting someone to talk to me. It's not selling. That part's easy, right? We all know that. So you guys probably are interested in results. So what happened? So the results are just as great as the process. So from a late stage pipeline perspective, we had 100% response rate, which is outrageous to me. It's really unthinkable. 67% of that did close in Q4, 22% closed in early Q1, and just a small percentage is still open as a pretty sizable deal and is progressing in conversations right now. So that was for the late stage pipeline. And then for the net new pipeline, like I said, it was only 5 accounts, but it was comprised of 60 individuals. And the goal for that was just to have a meeting with each of the 5 accounts, 1 meeting. And so far, 80% response rate. So 4 of the 5 accounts have either had meetings or have them coming up. And 2 opportunities have been opened from that so far, which is huge to me, sitting in my sales shoes. So overall, I mean, this has just been an incredible experience. And I am very grateful to have had this opportunity for Cameo to do what it does, for Sendoso to have the forward thinkingness, not Sendoso, a human, to bring these 2 platforms together in a B2B marketing and sales environment. I just think it's brilliant.
I think that's what Kate and I kind of work towards every day. So you're just feeding our egos right now. It feels really good to know that what we're doing is really actually making an impact for your team.
Absolutely.
So a few key takeaways. Franny, you want to talk to it, and Kate?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, again, the first big takeaway is you can't just invest time, money, and effort without having some data to point you in the right direction. So the first takeaway is having that Bombora intent data, surge data was the place to start and really helped everything to come together. Homework, there was a lot of homework. So I worked with several people on my team. And if I shared with you a glimpse of the massive spreadsheet that was put together, they thought I was crazy. But you had to do your homework because you only had 1 chance to get this right. So that was really critical. Kate spoke about personalization and creativity. You know, sometimes we feel awkward in our own skin. Sometimes we feel like that's just a little weird to do. You know, this is business. But personalization and creativity done right and done well have so much impact, and you should really look in the mirror and be proud of the ability to put these pieces together. I mentioned before, you know, I think one of the barriers to entry, I think, with Cameo, and that I've seen with other folks trying to use Cameo as a platform, is it's overwhelming. There's thousands of people to choose from. I, for one, know no celebrities. I'm not a stargazer. I don't watch TV. I know athletes. That's about it. So when I looked at Cameo, my children helped me. I have 3 20-something-year-old kids, and I sat them each down, girls and boys. I'm like, okay, so if you were a 21-year-old girl, which you are, who would you like? And that was really how I started. But like I said, I learned through the process that it doesn't have to be perfect. And then it's not just a one and done. You have to continuously reach out. Sometimes emails go to junk folder. We learn that a lot. LinkedIn is a really strong tool for follow-up. And then, you know, the tenacity and the grit to see it all through.
Amazing.
I have nothing to add. Franny nailed it. Covered it completely. Great job, Franny.
Well, thank you both so much for joining us at Connected and sharing this incredible story. I personally, you know, getting the creativity juices flowing is just always really, really inspiring to see, making people think outside the box. So thank you both so much for joining me.